We are Ulevus. We build brands that cannot be ignored. You yourself, by yourself, your brand. And also we understand the importance of, writing our goals out for the new year. And, the reason why we want to work on this is so that as you write out your goals to achieve for the new year, you're actually able to achieve all the goals that you have written out for yourself in this year 2024. So welcome again. Thank you for joining us. About Ulevus, we are a design and communications company that combines creativity and technology into ideas and experiences to improve and elevate African businesses, both in Africa and the diaspora. We bring unique perspectives cultivated from a diverse pool of creative professionals from Africa. And also, we incorporate user-driven research, insight, and imagination into creating modern designs that cannot be ignored. This is who we are. We make you stand out. And today we do have the Ulevus 2024 Vision Board design. Again, welcome. Our goal here is to achieve your goals. Throughout the session, if there is at any point, if you feel like, oh my goodness, this is speaking to me, feel free to post the quotes out there and tag us at This Is Ulevus. You can tag us on Twitter, all the social media spaces. Feel free to do so, to push it out there like, wow, I am getting some nuggets here. I am getting a lot of golden nuggets here, and I cannot wait to share it with others. So please do feel free to put it out there and tag us. Our focus topics will be your 2020 vision, the 6 human emotions, moving from information to application, S.M.A.R.T.E.R goals, applying the senses, and becoming a leader. When you think about your goals, the goals you set for 2023, did you achieve it? How many percent of it did you achieve last year? This is taking us back to the past, right? Before we step into the present, we want to evaluate what happened last year. According to Merriam-Webster, vision is the act of power, the act or power of seeing. That is vision, the act or power of seeing. What do we see? What do you see? And now when we go from vision, when we break it down, we'll think about our goals. Vision is the overall view, while the goals is, the desired result that you're committed to achieving within a specific time frame. So here today we have goals for the year 2024. And this is what we're committed to. We're going to be specific within a time frame. Now, one of the questions that we'll ask ourselves, and feel free to take notes, right? Do you know your why? Why did you accomplish what you did in 2023? Why did you not accomplish what you did not in 2023? So I'm just going to give us maybe 10 seconds to think about that. Why? Why did you and why didn't you? Why did you choose or not choose to set goals for 2024? So one of the things that, people keep saying this year was like, no New Year's resolution for me. No, it's okay. Every time I set goals, I just don't accomplish it. And, I just don't like it. So why? Why did you choose not to set goals? Or why did you choose to set goals? There's always a reason for everything that we do. So one of the things that do happen is when we do set goals, especially when the year starts, especially when we're entering the new year, right? All of us are so super excited. Yes, the excitement of a new year, a new month, or a new week, right? We're excited when January 1st comes around, even December 31st. We're joyful that yes, we've made it through another year, and it's another opportunity for us to achieve the things that we really, really want to achieve. And so we get started. We make our list. We're ready. We're doing our research, making moves. However, somewhere along the line, always happens every year, right? Maybe not to everything that we set goals to, but certain things that we set goals to and couldn't achieve, right? So somewhere along the line, this happens. We hit the roadblock, right? We hit a roadblock, we hit challenges, and we start to have fear. Like, did I put so much on my vision list, my goal list for this year? Is this achievable? And then obstacles start just jumping into our way. Or sometimes it could be fear because we don't trust in ourselves to actually get those things done, right? And so the fear just starts to creep in, and all that excitement kind of melts away. Or if it doesn't melt away, it becomes just another regular day, another regular week. I mean, come to think of it, we were just celebrating Happy New Year a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago. It's January 13th, right? Before we know it's another February, another March, right? And so the fear starts to creep in, like, okay, time is running and I've already set this goal for January. How come I'm not achieving it, right? And so that leads to a few things. Now, I also want us to think, right? Change is hard at first, at the beginning of everything we do. Change is hard, right? We've chosen to change, and then it's very messy in the middle. And so we go through all of this process, and what happens is we get into, this feeling, the emotions, right, that we connect to as humans. Sometimes we feel, disgust about ourselves sometimes, like, oh my goodness, how come I didn't? We feel sad, because there's just obstacle coming. And sometimes we feel angry because we're like, oh, if only this would just work better for me, right? And so we go through all of these emotions. However, during that process, what we want to always achieve, the emotions that we always want to achieve, will be this very one: joy, the emotions of joy. Now, joy exists not because we've achieved everything we say we want to achieve, but just because we're present in the moment, right? Understanding that obstacles do come around, understanding that certain things will limit us from certain goals that we do want to achieve. And so, if we should bring back our quotes, right, we'll see that change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and glorious at the end. And this quote was obtained from the book The 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma. This book, I mean, we at Ulevus, we just love Robbie Shamar. And I'll share another quote from a book that all of us read from later. But the 5 a.m. Club, when I read it, I mean, like, it was just amazing. The life lesson that came out of it. And, when I came across this quote, I was like, this says it all, right? Change is hard at first, messy in the middle, and glorious at the end. And I can tell you right now, as I'm speaking to you, it is right on my computer, because when I'm working, when I'm trying to finish tasks, right, it is hard. If I have to learn something new, it is hard. And so when I look at the post-it on my computer, I remind myself, you know what, it's supposed to be hard. It's okay for it to be hard. And it's going to be even messy, even though you have learned, right? The middle part is the application process, and it's going to be very messy. And so the goal is to get joy because it's glorious. Keep pushing forward, no matter what. I have something for you. This is something that all of us are very familiar with when we ask, is the cup half empty or half full? Hmm. Now, some of us will say, oh, it's half full, and some of us will say it's half empty. When we say it's half full, it's hard. It's a harder decision to make because it being half full means that we need to work harder, right? Imagine going up the hill. You have to apply more energy to go up the hill than you do have to apply to come down the hill, right? If we say it's half empty, it's okay for us to say, well, you know what, it's half empty. There's nothing I can do about it. And so I move on. But when we think about it and say, no, it is half full. And hmm, how do I get there? How do I make it full? Understanding that we all have different shapes, different sizes of cups that have been dished to each and every one of us. We all have different cups that's been given to us. It could be where we live, it could be the things that we're exposed to, it could be access to certain resources, whatever it is in our personal space and in our personal lives. We all have different sizes when it comes to the cups that is being given to each and every one of us. However, I want you to pay attention to the glass all the way at the end. You can see that that glass is full and somebody is pouring into that glass. Who's that somebody pouring into that glass? Today, I want you to know that you are that person pouring into your own glass. You are that person, the decisions that you make, the actions that you take, right, is the one pouring into that glass. Now, are there other obstacles? Absolutely, right? Sometimes we hide ourselves, sometimes we are hidden, sometimes there are resources that are not there. However, as we go through life, as we go through our 2024, right, who are we surrounded by? Because those are the people that we are pulling into our cup to fill us up, right? Who are we who are we looking up to? What moves are we making? How are we spending our time? How are we reaching out to people, right? Those are the items that will keep our cup full. And those are very, very hard to obtain. But again, what we want to get to is the feeling of joy. That is the place we want to get to. Talking about, half full cup. We're going to fill our cup or our glass. We're going to fill our glass today. Now we're going to get into the turning information into application. Who is in your algorithm? Today, all of us are surrounded by, algorithm pretty much. We are on our computer, we're on our phones, we are we are pretty much everywhere. Even when we meet people in physical space, we are there. Who is in your algorithm? Now, some of us, when we get to work, it's easy to put our computers away. It's easy to put our phone away and say, okay, I'm at work, right? During the day, when we have that task going on, when we're so focused, it's easy to put everything aside, even the people near us physically, right? However, when we are in a very basic space, who do we have in our algorithm? Right? Who are we inspired by? What are we learning? Who are we talking to on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? Do some of us have mentors that is mentoring us through the process? So, I have put my goals out there, right? And yes, absolutely. That's one great thing. But do we have accountability partners, right? Are we accountable to somebody that is invested in seeing us excel and saying, hey, every month I'm going to meet with you, or whenever we can meet, we can schedule a time ahead and, let's talk together. Let's see where we can go to. What and who are we listening to, right? What and who are you listening to? That is another form of information. We have information all around us. We're bombarded with it. But however, what and who are we listening to? Because those are the things that's going to make us who we're going to be. Those are the information that we're going to pour into our cup in order to fill that cup. And it's the way communication works. There's a phrase that says, you know, we have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Two ears so that we can hear more than we speak, right? And so when we do hear, this is what happens. Or when we do see, right? This is what happens. Information we get goes right straight into our subconscious. Sometimes we won't even remember that we got those information. And so what happens is maybe, we hit discouragement, a point of discouragement in our lives. And so we're like, oh, okay, something just pops into our head like, well, you're stronger than this. Maybe you don't even remember the story you saw or the story somebody told you, but you just feel like, you know what, if somebody can go through this, I can go through it as well. They went through it and they were successful. It wasn't easy for them. You heard that story somewhere. It's sitting right there in your subconscious. And that is the power of our subconscious that we don't pay attention to. Everything we hear goes into our subconscious mind. And so we have to be careful. The information we're getting, what is it? Who is it coming from? And so how are we applying it? Okay, come to think about it as well. We talk about, we're in the information age. Actually, some analysts will say that we were in the information age and now we are in the application age, right? Proliferation of AI and all of that, right? There's so much information out there, artificial intelligence, AI. And so there's so much information out there, so overwhelming, right? And so we have to ensure that we decipher what it is that we're putting into ourselves. And also, let's say, for example, talking about artificial intelligence, right? That is something that all of us are, hearing about every day. So let's say one of us does decide, to learn more or take it. We all know that just reading about it, any subject really, reading about it, um, does not mean we're going to remember. Maybe we'll remember a few information here and there, but applying it is what helps us to get better. Applying it is what help us to get to the next level. And so information is knowledge, application is wisdom. So let's start with SMART, first of all. Specific, right? We have to be specific in our goals. A lot of us I've heard about that many times all over the internet. We have to make sure that they're measurable, they are achievable, they're relevant and time bound. Absolutely. If they wake us up, from a nap, I'm sure we can break it down how we can be specific with our goal, how we can measure and they're achievable for us. And, they're relevant to what we're doing at that point. And, we set time from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. I need to complete this task. Now, we do have empathy. Now, where does that come from? That comes from us here at Ulevus. We said empathy because what we know out there is smart, right? However, we are at the same time, if you think about the cups, the glasses that we uh, showed earlier, that we presented earlier, they all had, different sizes and different shapes, right? And so when we think about it, we're all given different obstacles and different resources and different, locations and different just different challenges in life, right? And so we don't want to just stick to SMART. Um, we want to ensure that we have empathy on ourselves. Now, what's the difference between empathy and sympathy, right? Um, we're not saying sympathy. Sympathy is not the same thing as empathy. Sympathy is pitying yourself, pitying myself. But empathy is understanding what have been given and saying, you know what? It's okay. I understand it. How can I make it better? Just like if we have empathy towards certain people, right? When we sympathize with others, we're like, oh, we're so sorry you're going through that. Okay, I hope it's okay, and all of that. That is fine. There's nothing wrong with having sympathy. However, when you empathize with someone, you go beyond that, right? You say, oh, I'm so sorry you're going through that. How can I help? What do you need at this moment? And so, as human beings, we're so quick to do that for other people, but we forget to do that for ourselves. We forget to understand ourselves. We forget to think about ourselves. We're so hard on ourselves sometimes, like, oh, if somebody did it, I should have done it, right? But we forget what we have been given, the type of glass that we do have. And so we just want to remind you here at U levels not to take empathy away from your smarter goals. Now I'm going to reveal the very last letter. Let's see what it's about. That's right. This one has three actually, and the reevaluate. We're missing an E there. However, we all know what that is. Um, so the R is for re-evaluate, and I think all of us actually got this right. At least most of us got this right. We absolutely need to re-evaluate our goals. After we understand, we've empathized with ourselves, go back, reevaluate. Okay, did I put so much on my plates? Did I look at my resources? Did I obtain more resources to ensure that I was able to achieve that goal, right? Reevaluate. It's okay to do so. Reorganize. Absolutely reorganize. Sit down, sit down and reorganize after you've reevaluated and recuperate. It is important that we don't stay where we were, right? When we don't meet our goals, it's important that we do whatever it takes to recuperate after we've reorganized our goals. And so that is U levels, smarter goals for you, everyone. One way that can actually help us as well is applying our senses, applying your senses, meditation. We talked about how we get information from different spaces. So let's say this year, right, we've decided that we want to just listen to self-development books or read, self-development books, right? We are getting the information, but how do we move to the next level? We need to apply it, right? Yes, by doing. However, when you make your goals, what we're about to go through today, when you make your goals, ensure that you meditate on them. When you set goals, right, and you put it aside, you don't look at it, or you only look at it maybe when you want to get task done. It doesn't get done. You have to think of that task, of that goal as, as if it's already been accomplished. You actually have to meditate on the process you have to go through to accomplish the goal. He said that's one of the things that actually takes fear away, right? You have to put yourself in it and you need to meditate. The power of meditation. It's huge, the power of meditation. And so, how much time do you spend in sitting down? You don't have to, be in a pose or anything. When we see this pose in this picture, we just know what it means, right? However, it could be you setting 5 minutes out of your day, 10 minutes, right? Start with 2 minutes actually, and then increase it to 10 minutes, 20 minutes. Just sit there and just stay quietly and just listen to your surrounding, whether it's noisy, whether it's quiet, it doesn't matter. Take it all in and and just focus. What are the tasks that I need to accomplish today? And just close your eyes, walk through the process for a while, right? Or what are my goals for this week? Or how am I going to encourage myself this week? Just walk through the process, right? It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard if you're not used to meditating. Your mind will wander. However, always call it back. Always call it back. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. And you just see that you are accomplishing so much during the day. And also, before you go to bed at night, take some time to meditate on your accomplishments. Don't meditate on things you didn't get done. Remember, that one is for us to empathize and reorganize, right? However, meditate on the things that you have accomplished and appreciate yourself. That's one thing, again, that we don't do enough of. We appreciate others a lot, but we don't appreciate ourselves, right? So let's learn to meditate on appreciating ourselves at the end of the day. Becoming a leader. So there are two types of people, and this is actually, I believe this is from one of our books. Yes, the book I said I'm going to share with everybody. We're reading that book in U levels. Actually, we always read the book in U levels. Some of us have read it, for every new team members. In U levels, they have to read it because it's just an amazing book. Everybody has to read that book. So anyway, I will go on. Becoming a leader, there are two types of people. You have the victim and you have the leader. Where all of us here that is on this Zoom meeting, right? Where we want to be is to be on the leaderships, the spectrum. We don't want to be in the middle. We don't want to be a victim. Absolutely not. We want to be in the leadership space, right? And so what does that look like? Leaders present solutions. Victims recite problems. And this is a quote from The Leader Who Had No Title by Robin Sharma. You all can tell I really like Robin Sharma. Um, I really like Robin Sharma. Our creative director, Arnold Sigala, was actually the person who introduced me to the author. And I've read, I believe, 3 of his books now. So, but The Leader Who Had No Title, all of us at U levels, it's a must. We all have to read it. And so the quote says, victims recite problems, leaders present solutions. When we think about the glass half full or half empty, victims will say, oh, the problems are there. The problems are there. They can never go away. It's where I am. It's what I'm going through. It's what I'm dealing with. It's what is happening to me, right? They can never go away. And so victims recite the problems over and over and over again. Are the problems real? Absolutely. The problems are real. But in order for us to be in the leadership spectrum, right? In order for us to get closer to the leadership space, we have to constantly focus on the solution. We present solutions, no matter how small that solution is. no matter how little it is. Again, it goes back to learning to appreciate ourselves for the smallest thing, for the smallest, a challenge that we solve, right? And so for us to be in that space, we constantly have to refocus back to presenting solutions. And that is what makes us leaders. So when we hear about, leadership or leading, we think about this big person and just being a CEO and or maybe they lead, nonprofit organization and they're out there and, manager all sorts, right? When we think about leaders. And so leadership actually starts within us. Leadership starts with us. Everybody here is a leader. And one of the examples that, we recently we were just discussing this a few days ago. And one of the examples that we gave was children are leaders. Children are leaders. Now, when I say children are leaders, we are like, oh, don't you have to tell them what to do and things like that? Absolutely, we still do. But if you think about it, what are children constantly doing? They're constantly presenting solutions. Our creative director did share with us that we need to be curious like children. Absolutely. We need to be curious like children because they see the obstacle, they see the problem, but they want to see what is on the other side of it, right? They want to know what is on the other side of it. And so when you think about this definition, you're like, oh yeah, they definitely are, leaders in their own ways. This is something that I have kind of like put together in a whiteboard. Okay, 3 words that I want to put in my mind. Just 3 words, not too much for the rest of this year. How do I want to identify myself? So the 3 words I picked are impactful, relentless, and bold. Those are my 3 words. This year, we're going to just have those 3 words. Everywhere you can post it to remind yourself, this is it, right? I am relentless in everything. I am impactful. I am successful. I am a leader. I am strong. I am bold, right? I am whatever it is, whatever it is that you are picking for yourself, go ahead and post it where you can remember on your computer. Use it as a background to your phone, right? So that um, you're constantly coming in front of that all the time. And so in 2024, my vision, I have, should I say my 2024 vision and goal, is to increase, now I said this in past tense, right? I'm trying to go with prophesying, right? I increased the Ulevus customer base by improving the operational processes. I can just change this right now, of course. Operational processes. Um, that's one of the ways that I want to, give back. That's one of the way I want to impact, right? And so, what is it that you are planning to do? I want us to even think about it, right? I want us to think about it like, okay, I've already done it, right? It's been done. It's been done. You can't tell me that it hasn't been. It's been done. And so, one of the ways I'm going to do that is to read the book, My Personal MBA, for an hour. Yes, for 1 hour, at 6 p.m. every single day. I want to plan my monthly and weekly objectives on Sundays at 3 p.m. And I'm going to keep that on my reminder. This is what I want to do every Sunday at 3 p.m. It's me and my computer planning out, my objective for the week, right? Or maybe first Sunday of the month. It's me planning out my objectives for the month, right? And so this is who this is the action being, actionable and measurable, right? And so if for some reason one week I did not accomplish everything I have set out for myself, that Sunday I can sit down and reevaluate and say, okay, how am I going to approach this week? Rather than, spend that Sunday trying to take it off my mind, like, oh, I was supposed to complete this and I didn't. Okay, this goal setting thing is just not for me, right? I'm not going to give up that way. I'm going to be relentless. I'm going to be bold enough to face what it is that I haven't done. It's okay to be bold in that way. This year, I am joyful because I focused on the task in front of me. Now, I deliberately said joyful because I focused on the task, because sometimes, when we don't accomplish the task that we want to, again, it goes back to those emotions that we showed earlier, right? The human emotion, the disgust, the sadness, the anger. And so we just want to not face it, right? But if I choose to be joyful, I will empathize, I will appreciate what I have done and reorganize what I haven't, what I didn't, and recuperate. Thank you all so much for being part of this amazing, amazing program. They all contributed to it. Aya is the mouthpiece for all of us today for today's program. But it's a teamwork, it's a team effort. I've learned so much from my amazing U levels team members. I truly appreciate you all. Um, I truly appreciate you all. And thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for joining us.